Have you ever thought about a friend seconds before they called? Or experienced déjà vu that felt eerily significant? These experiences might be what Carl Jung called synchronicity, meaningful connections that transcend mere chance. Over the next 30 days, I'm going to show you how to recognize these mysterious patterns and cultivate them in your life. It's like tuning an old radio to capture signals that were always there. The science behind synchronicity is fascinating. Quantum physics is beginning to align with Jung's century-old theories. Each day, we'll take one step closer to unlocking subtle messages from the universe through simple, daily practices anyone can follow. The synchronicity mystery, Jung's forgotten discovery. What if those strange coincidences in your life aren't random accidents, but meaningful connections waiting to be discovered? This was the revolutionary idea that Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung introduced to the world, a concept he called synchronicity that fundamentally challenged how we understand reality. Let me take you back to a pivotal moment in Jung's practice during the early 1920s. A highly rational, educated woman was describing her dream about receiving a golden scarab beetle, a precious piece of jewelry. As she spoke, Jung heard a gentle tapping at his window. When he opened it, in flew a scarabid beetle, the closest thing to a scarab beetle found in that region. It had a gold-green color, remarkably similar to the golden scarab from her dream. Jung caught the beetle and handed it to his patient, saying simply, "Here is your scarab." This moment proved transformative. The shock of this coincidence broke through her intellectual resistance, creating a breakthrough in her treatment. This represented something far more significant, a moment where the inner world of dreams and the outer world of physical reality synchronized in a way that defied conventional explanation. It carried meaning that pure chance couldn't account for. From this experience and countless others, Jung identified three essential elements that distinguish true synchronicity. First, there must be a meaningful connection. The events need to resonate with personal significance rather than being merely random. Second, there's a causal relationship, meaning the connection can't be explained by conventional cause and effect. And third, there must be psychological significance. The experience typically connects to deeper aspects of a person's psyche or life journey. Jung spent over 20 years studying these meaningful coincidences before formally introducing the concept in the 1950s. During this time, he collaborated with Wolfgang Pauli, a Nobel Prize-winning physicist, who helped Jung understand how synchronicity might connect to emerging ideas in quantum physics. Their partnership bridged psychology and physics, suggesting that mind and matter might be different expressions of a single underlying reality. Have you ever experienced something so coincidental it stopped you in your tracks? These are the moments that Jung's theory aims to explain. The difference between mere coincidence and true synchronicity is the element of meaning. We all experience coincidences regularly, like thinking of a friend moments before they call. But when a coincidence carries significant personal relevance, especially connected to your current life circumstances or psychological state, it becomes synchronicity. Jung's ideas challenge the scientific establishment of his time. In a world dominated by Newtonian physics and strict cause-effect relationships, suggesting meaningful coincidences might reveal connections beyond causality seemed almost mystical. Yet today, concepts from quantum physics like non-locality, where particles can instantaneously affect each other regardless of distance, and quantum entanglement, where particles become fundamentally connected, provide intriguing parallels to Jung's synchronicity. These quantum phenomena suggest a universe where connections exist that transcend our conventional understanding of space, time, and causality, exactly the kind of framework that could potentially explain synchronistic events. While quantum physics doesn't prove synchronicity, these developments show how Jung's once radical ideas might find a home within emerging scientific frameworks. So how can you begin experiencing synchronicity in your own life? The most powerful first step is surprisingly simple. Start noticing. Most of us have been trained to dismiss coincidences as random noise, filtering them out of our conscious awareness. By deliberately paying attention to these moments, you'll likely discover they happen more frequently than you realized. Try this tomorrow. Set an intention in the morning to notice coincidences throughout your day. Then, before bed, write down anything unusual that happened, moments that felt meaningful or connected in unexpected ways. This practice of conscious awareness begins training your mind to recognize patterns it previously ignored. Modern synchronicity, today's case studies. Many people dismiss coincidences as mere statistical inevitabilities, but what if the timing of these events holds the real key? During major life transitions, something fascinating happens in the human mind that makes us more receptive to connections that would otherwise pass unnoticed, and science is beginning to understand why. Consider Olivia, a 32-year-old teacher from Portland who kept encountering an unusual spiral symbol during a period of career uncertainty. She first noticed it in a piece of street art while walking to her school. 2 days later, the same distinctive spiral appeared on a book on her desk. That weekend, while hiking to clear her mind about a position at a prestigious arts academy, she discovered rocks forming that exact spiral pattern. The following Monday, she received an email about an opening at the academy. Their logo contained the same spiral. The spiral appearances left me breathless each time, Olivia explained. My heart raced whenever I spotted it, as if something profound was unfolding in my life. Research using the Synchronicity Awareness and Meaning Detecting Scale, SAMD, confirms that such experiences frequently cluster around periods of significant transition or emotional intensity, precisely when our unconscious mind is most active, seeking to provide guidance. Modern synchronicity experiences manifest across diverse circumstances but share striking patterns. Mark, a Chicago software developer, dreamed of a childhood friend in a yellow jacket at an airport after 15 years of no contact. The next morning, this exact friend texted about an unexpected Chicago layover and appeared wearing that distinctive yellow jacket. Meanwhile, Aisha grappled with ending a relationship when, in a cafe, she overheard 4 separate conversations addressing her specific relationship concerns. It felt like the entire room was somehow responding to my internal dialogue, she recalled, her hands trembling as she set down her coffee cup. These experiences align with Jung's theories about the connection between inner states and external events. The SAMD scale shows that people scoring high on openness to experience and tolerance for ambiguity are more likely to recognize meaningful coincidences. James's story further illustrates this phenomenon. After abandoning his search for a specific vintage camera, he took a wrong turn while driving and discovered that exact model at a yard sale, in perfect working condition. The timing of his discovery, just as he'd decided to try a different approach, created an eerie resonance that left him questioning pure randomness. The neurological basis for these experiences is becoming clearer. Brain studies suggest that the tendency to experience meaningful coincidences correlates with decreased gray matter in regions involved in causality detection and emotional control. This indicates neurological differences that may make some people more receptive to synchronicity. What's particularly fascinating is how synchronistic experiences bridge our internal psychological states with external events. As research indicates, according to Jung, synchronicity is deeply connected to the individual's inner world, including their thoughts, emotions, and dreams. During major life transitions, we become more receptive to these connections as our minds actively search for direction. Studies reveal that synchronistic experiences are frequently reported during periods of heightened emotional intensity or significant life transitions, such as births, deaths, and marriage. These junctures create ideal conditions for noticing meaningful coincidences that might otherwise pass unrecognized. Think about your own life for a moment. Have you ever experienced a strange coincidence during a time when you were facing an important decision or going through a significant change? The science suggests you're not alone. These experiences form patterns across human lives that might tell us something profound about how our minds interact with the world during times of transition. Week 1 of the challenge: training your synchronicity awareness. While most people wait passively for synchronicities to appear during life crises, what if you could become receptive to them deliberately? In week 1 of our challenge, we'll break down the precise cognitive barriers that prevent you from noticing the meaningful coincidences happening around you every single day. Your brain processes vast amounts of information every second, but your conscious mind only registers a tiny fraction. This means you're filtering out almost all of the information available to you. Neuroscientists call this selective attention, your brain's way of preventing overwhelm. Think of it like walking through life with noise-canceling headphones, tuned to block out certain frequencies. Our first week is about carefully removing those headphones and allowing yourself to hear the full symphony of connections playing around you. Week 1 begins with a simple but powerful practice: intentional awareness. Each morning, you'll start with a 5-minute intention-setting ritual where you declare your openness to noticing meaningful coincidences. This primes your reticular activating system, the part of your brain responsible for determining what deserves your attention. Each evening, you'll spend another 5 minutes recording any potential synchronicities in a dedicated journal. For days 1 through 3, we focus on external awareness exercises. On day 1, you'll select a personal symbol, something simple like a triangle, butterfly, or specific number, and watch for it throughout your day. This creates a scavenger hunt for your conscious mind while teaching your unconscious to look for patterns. Day 2 introduces mindful awareness during routine activities, turning ordinary moments like waiting in line or washing dishes into opportunities to notice unusual connections. By day 3, you'll expand this awareness to recurring themes in conversations, media, and your environment. Shifting to internal awareness, days 4 to 7 deepen the practice. On day 4, you'll begin recording your dreams immediately upon waking, before your conscious mind can rationalize or forget them. Throughout the day, you'll watch for waking events that mirror dream elements, subtle thematic resonances included. Day 5 adds emotional tracking, where you note your feeling state whenever coincidences occur. Research shows that certain emotional states, particularly openness, curiosity, and wonder, correlate with increased synchronicity awareness. Days 6 to 7 take your practice into the world with synchronicity walks. These intentional journeys involve setting a question or intention before you begin, then allowing your intuition to guide your path while remaining alert to anything that feels like a response. This practice works especially well in natural settings or unfamiliar environments where your habitual filtering is naturally reduced. This training creates neurological change. Consistent practice develops new neural pathways through neuroplasticity, improving your ability to notice subtle patterns previously invisible to you. The practice utilizes diffuse attention, a relaxed, receptive state of awareness that complements our culture's emphasis on focused attention. This activates different neural networks, allowing for unexpected connections that focused attention might miss. The benefits extend far beyond noticing interesting coincidences. Participants report reduced anxiety as they develop trust in their intuitive guidance system. Many experience creative breakthroughs as new connections form between previously separate ideas. Others develop an increased sense of meaning and purpose, feeling more in sync with their life path. One participant, Michael, a 42-year-old engineer, was skeptical when he began the challenge, but committed to following the protocol exactly. By the end of week 1, he had experienced 3 significant synchronicities that led him to reconnect with an old colleague, resulting in a collaboration that revitalized his career. "I realized I had been walking through life with blinders on," he said. "Now I wonder what else I've been missing." The real power of week 1 is in how these practices begin to dissolve the rigid boundary between what you consider coincidence and what you recognize as meaningful. You're developing a new relationship with reality itself, one where the line between inner and outer worlds becomes more permeable and interactive. Week 2 of the challenge, interpreting your synchronicities. That newfound permeability between your inner world and outer reality creates the perfect foundation for our next crucial step. As you begin noticing more synchronicities, a pressing question emerges. How do you distinguish between random coincidences and truly meaningful connections? Week 2 of our challenge addresses precisely this challenge by introducing Jung's evaluation system, a framework that transforms curious anomalies into precise guidance for your most important decisions. The difference between noticing coincidences and interpreting them properly is like learning a new language. First, you recognize the sounds, but now you need to understand what they mean. Week 2 focuses entirely on moving from passive observation to active interpretation, helping you extract the personal significance hidden within each synchronistic event. Rather than falling into the common trap of either dismissing everything as random chance or seeing profound meaning in every coincidence, our framework helps you navigate the middle path with precision and clarity. Days 8 through 10 introduce Jung's synchronicity evaluation framework. You'll learn to assess each experience using 3 key criteria: improbability, how unlikely was this coincidence; personal relevance, how directly does it connect to your life; and emotional impact, what feeling did it evoke. This systematic approach replaces vague hunches with clear assessment, allowing you to identify which coincidences hold genuine significance. For example, when that book addressing your exact life dilemma seemingly appears out of nowhere, you'll evaluate whether this represents meaningful guidance by asking, what were the odds of finding this specific book at this moment? Does it directly address my current struggles? What emotional response did this trigger? Similarly, if you keep encountering the same number sequence during critical life decisions, the framework helps determine if this pattern holds deeper meaning. Building on this foundation, days 11 and 12 explore Jung's concept of archetypal analysis. Jung discovered that certain universal patterns and symbols appear consistently across cultures and throughout history, what he called archetypes. These archetypal images can connect your dream world to waking life, providing deeper self-understanding. When synchronicities contain these universal symbols, perhaps a repeated animal encounter during times of transition or symbolic imagery appearing in both dreams and real life, they often carry additional significance. By recognizing these archetypal patterns, you gain access to wisdom that transcends your individual experience, tapping into what Jung called the collective unconscious. Days 13 and 14 then introduce the dialogue with coincidence technique, where you engage with synchronistic experiences as if they were messages communicating something specific. This approach transforms coincidences from static events into dynamic conversations between your conscious mind and deeper aspects of reality. Jung himself relied on specific tools to access deeper meaning in synchronistic events, particularly his work with the I Ching, the ancient Chinese divination text. He viewed the I Ching's hexagrams as similar to astrological constellations, believing this approach provided access to the unconscious where archetypal representations reveal themselves through meaningful coincidences. This perspective directly informs our modern interpretation techniques, giving you practical ways to extract wisdom from synchronicities in everyday decisions, like choosing between job opportunities or resolving relationship challenges. The techniques we teach in Week 2 adapt Jung's methods for contemporary life, equipping you with practical tools to evaluate, analyze, and dialogue with your experiences. This develops an intuitive skill, particularly valuable when logical analysis reaches its limits, when multiple options seem equally valid, or when critical information is missing. This interpretation skill transforms your entire approach to life's challenges. When you understand the language of synchronicity, you develop what Jung called a new relationship with reality, one where the boundary between internal and external worlds becomes more fluid and informative. Week 3 of the challenge, working with synchronicity. That fluid boundary between inner and outer worlds isn't just a fascinating concept, it's an invitation to participate. Most people never realize that synchronicity isn't simply happening to them, it's responding to them. Our third week tackles the question that changes everything. Can you consciously engage with meaningful coincidences rather than just waiting for them to appear? This shift represents the most profound transition in our challenge. We're moving from recognizing and interpreting synchronicities to actively participating in their emergence. Picture the difference between watching waves at the shore and learning to surf them. The ocean remains unchanged, but your relationship with it transforms completely. Many people view synchronicity as something that occasionally interrupts our normal lives, random gifts from a mysterious universe. This perspective overlooks what researchers at the Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research Laboratory discovered through decades of experiments. Consciousness itself appears to influence physical systems in measurable ways. Their random event generators showed statistically significant deviations when subjected to focused human intention. Days 15 to 17 introduce you to question meditation. Unlike traditional meditation where you empty your mind, this technique involves formulating a clear, meaningful question before entering a receptive state. Dr. Marilyn Schlitz's research at the Institute of Noetic Sciences found that people who practice this form of meditation report a 37% increase in meaningful coincidences related to their questions. Have you ever considered how your questions might be shaping the answers you receive from the world around you? The process is straightforward yet powerful. You'll learn to craft questions that avoid either-or thinking and invite expansive insights, rather than asking, "Should I take this job?" Зрение. Вы можете спросить, что принесет мне удовлетворение в моей рабочей жизни? After posing your question, you'll practice a specific form of open awareness, remaining attentive to unexpected answers in conversations, encounters, or patterns in nature. On days 18 to 19, we explore synchronicity incubation. This practice draws on research by psychologist Dr. Jonathan Schooler, who found certain conditions dramatically increase the likelihood of experiencing meaningful coincidences. Relaxed attention, novel environments, and prepared mind conditions where you've been contemplating a particular theme. You'll create a synchronicity attractor field by combining three elements: a clear intention held without attachment, exposure to novel stimuli that disrupts habitual perception, and scheduled periods of unstructured time. Participants who master this technique report that synchronistic events begin appearing reliably when needed. Caroline Mess observed that intention is the most underrated power in our lives. Her research with medical patients showed those who cultivated clear intention while remaining detached from specific outcomes experienced more synchronicities and better health outcomes. This raises an intriguing question. What might change in your life if you approach synchronicity with intention rather than passive hope? Days 20 to 21 introduce the amplification method, teaching you to strengthen synchronistic signals through conscious attention and action. When meaningful coincidences appear, most people simply note them and move on. The amplification method creates a feedback loop between your consciousness and environment through 3 steps: recognition, reflection, and response. Neuropsychologist Dr. Julia Mossbridge's research demonstrated that intention-based practices create measurable changes in our perceptual systems. Her studies showed that participants trained in specific attention techniques developed an enhanced ability to detect patterns previously invisible to them, a phenomenon she calls predictive anticipatory activity. These practices aren't magical thinking. They're based on growing understanding of how consciousness interfaces with reality. Quantum physicist Dr. Dean Radin's experiments have shown that trained meditators can influence quantum measurement outcomes through focused intention at rates exceeding chance. By week's end, many participants report that meaningful coincidences no longer feel random but responsive, as if they're engaged in an ongoing dialogue with a universe that somehow recognizes and responds to their consciousness. Week 4 of the challenge, building your synchronicity framework. While most people treat synchronicities as interesting anomalies, researchers at the Exceptional Human Experience Network have documented thousands of cases where individuals develop their own synchronicity grammar, a consistent pattern of meaningful coincidences that provided practical guidance at critical life junctures. This final week of our challenge transforms isolated synchronistic experiences into a personalized navigation system you can use for the rest of your life. The goal of week 4 is integration. Think of it as assembling the pieces of your personal synchronicity puzzle into a complete framework that fits naturally into your daily existence. You've spent 3 weeks developing awareness, interpretation skills, and active engagement with meaningful coincidences. Now, we're creating a sustainable practice that becomes second nature, rather than something you have to consciously remember to do. This integration presents a particular challenge in our modern world. We live in a culture that celebrates logical thinking and clear cause-effect relationships. The dominant worldview treats coincidences as statistical inevitabilities rather than meaningful guidance. This makes maintaining synchronicity awareness, like swimming against the current, possible but requiring intentional effort. Even profound synchronistic experiences often fade when confronted with the collective skepticism of our rational, focused society. Days 22 through 24 focus on developing your personal synchronicity language. Just as dreams use recurring symbols particular to each dreamer, synchronicities often communicate through patterns unique to you. Amanda from our last challenge noticed ladybugs appearing during moments requiring patience and blue jays when she needed to speak her truth boldly. These exercises help you catalog your recurring symbols and themes, transforming seemingly random events into a coherent guidance language. For days 25 through 27, you'll build your synchronicity decision framework. This transforms meaningful coincidences from curiosities into practical navigation tools. The framework includes specific questions for important choices, methods for requesting synchronistic guidance, and techniques for distinguishing between fear-based projection and authentic synchronicity. Thomas, a business consultant, applied this framework to make counterintuitive decisions that repeatedly opened unexpected opportunities, demonstrating how trusting these signals can lead to remarkably positive outcomes. The final 3 days, days 28 through 30, focus on establishing your ongoing synchronicity practice. You'll design personal rituals and habits that maintain your connection to synchronistic awareness without constant conscious effort. This might include morning intention-setting routines, environmental cues, or weekly reviews that help recognize patterns. The key is finding sustainable approaches that work with your lifestyle, rather than creating another obligation. the transformative potential becomes evident in the stories of long-term practitioners. Eliza, a corporate attorney feeling trapped in her career, found herself guided to an unexpected role in environmental law that perfectly aligned with her values. David, a struggling artist, connected with exactly the right mentors by following the breadcrumbs of coincidence. Sophia noticed patterns of meaningful coincidences guiding her through a health crisis, providing the right resources exactly when needed. As the Institute of Noetic Sciences research suggests, this practice fundamentally alters our relationship with uncertainty, transforming challenges from meaningless obstacles into meaningful parts of an unfolding conversation. Throughout our journey from basic awareness in week 1 to interpretation in week 2 to active engagement in week 3, you've built the essential components of synchronicity practice. Now in week 4, as you integrate these skills into a personalized framework, you're preparing to navigate life with an expanded set of tools. The path ahead involves moving from seeing yourself as an isolated individual, pushing against an indifferent world, to experiencing yourself as a participant in a responsive, meaningful universe. A shift that transforms not just what you do, but how you fundamentally experience being alive. As we reach the end of our journey together, consider what Carl Jung truly meant when he spoke of synchronicity as a window into unified reality. This practice invites you to experience a world where your inner thoughts and the outer universe share a profound connection. Through this 30-day challenge, you've glimpsed how the boundaries between mind and matter might be more permeable than we once believed. The universe communicates through meaningful patterns. Imagine waking up every day with a quiet certainty that the universe is speaking directly to you. Tomorrow, begin your personal exploration. Simply notice and record one coincidence, however small. This single act of awareness might forever change how you experience reality itself. What if reality isn't silent but whispering? Not random but responsive, not disconnected but alive, with meaning. Carl Jung didn't just give us a word, he gave us a way to see, a way to remember that the universe doesn't move blindly. It moves with you. Each synchronicity is not a glitch in the system. It's the system winking back. Over the last 30 days, you've peeled back the surface. You've listened. You've felt. You've witnessed the thread between thought and event. And now, you'll never unsee it. This isn't the end of the journey. It's the beginning of a new way to walk through the world. So ask, watch, trust. And when the universe answers, don't just observe, participate. Synchronicity isn't rare, awareness is. Tune in, the signal is always there. Subscribe, reflect, live in resonance.